React Native EU is back for an on-site edition. Write that down. September 7th and 8th in Wrocław. You can expect industry thought leaders, insightful talks, networking with great devs from all around the world, and of course, good vibes only. So write that down. September 7th and 8th, Wrocław. Get your tickets now. Do it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Coffee Talk episode by Stack. Today, we are going to talk about something really interesting released a few days ago by the greatest developer community that there is and there was. But before we get to this, I'm going to introduce you to my guest today, which is Tomasz Misiukiewicz. Hi, Tomasz.
Hi, how are you doing? Excited to be there.
I'm excited to have you here, man. So Tomasz is a developer at Stack. He's working on an open source. So I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of cool things to say, but maybe not specifically for this episode. Maybe another time we can talk about open source. That would be cool. But today we're gonna focus on the Stack Overflow 2023 Developer Survey. If you're a developer and if you're watching this, the chances that you are a developer, you probably heard of this. And today we're just gonna, have a little review, focus on the most interesting things because, this survey is conducted by Stack Overflow, which is a popular online community for developers / programmers. It's been released for 13 years now, so this is a tradition now, I guess. Every year a new version of the survey, and it provides the data and statistics on the preferences, opinions, trends within the global developers community. And I think it's important to say before we start that this is not it's not a representation of opinions of all the software developers, all the software community, but mostly enthusiasts because, as professional developer, you probably don't do surveys. You're probably too busy typing code and fixing all these bugs. But if you did fill up the survey, then thank you for that. Now we have some data to work with. So online resources to learn how to code. As we look at the statistics here, we can see that from all of the results, the most responses are for technical documentation, which honestly makes me a little happy because, this is the source of truth, right? This is where you want to get the knowledge from because this is the only, it should be the only up-to-date place from where you can get like the latest APIs, the latest, breaking changes and all this stuff. Stack Overflow in the second place. Tomek, be honest, how often do you search Stack Overflow for the code issues and code tips and tricks?
I feel like I'm there every day for last 2 years, to be honest.
All right, yeah, I think same for me, but just if you're a developer, just remember, do not just copy paste from Stack Overflow. Please understand what you're doing and please actually take some knowledge from there. Because this is a great source of knowledge only if you are using it responsibly. Then 76% blogs, 60% how-to videos, and I think this is not surprising. I mean, we developers, we like to get results quickly, and very often when you're watching the how-to video, it takes time to just get to the creme de la creme of the video to find this one thing that you're looking for. And on a blog, you can just scroll through it and just find what you need, right?
Yeah, exactly. I prefer to go through the docs and blogs rather than going through the videos because I can find something that interests me really quickly and I don't have to skip and check if it's somewhere in the video. So yeah, I think you're right.
Online course platforms to learn how to code. Udemy, first place. Tomek, do you know Udemy?
Yeah, it's pretty popular, I think. You can basically find almost everything there. if you want to learn something, it's probably there.
Yeah, and I think they are this popular because they have so many discounts and like free courses available from time to time. I remember when I was at university as a student, I was just hunting for the best courses on Udemy for free because I was just broke. So basically, I had to rely on stuff like this, and I can say I found some great stuff there.
I'm really happy that Codecademy is there on the third place, because it's the place where I started learn to program. So
already,
yeah,
nice. For me, it was Pluralsight though, but I come from more of a .NET background, and I think Pluralsight has a lot of .NET stuff specifically. So it's not surprising. But Codecademy, it's a great place too. I've tried it out, and it was nice. Most popular technologies. This year, we are comparing the popular technologies across 3 different groups: all respondents, professional developers, and those that are learning to code. This is what Stack Overflow reminds us of. And basically, if we look at the results, well, surprise, surprise, JS on the top, on the pole position with 63% of votes. Are you surprised, Tomek?
I think I'm not surprised at all. You can basically run it everywhere. I remember when the Vision OS was announced, I think Kitsy on Twitter, he wrote that you're probably gonna run JavaScript on that one on day one, and he was right. You can actually see some experiments with React Native on Vision OS right now.
Man, I've heard of that, and I'm so willing to try it out. To be honest, I wanted to be one of these people who's gonna run it on Vision OS. I just didn't find time yet, but I need to play with it. Did you have a chance to play with that?
No, not yet, but it's pretty exciting, to be honest.
But I've seen some people from CallStack already playing with it, just spamming on Slack with their cool project. Yeah. I'm jealous now. But yeah, so JavaScript on the first place, 63%. Then HTML, CSS. I mean, that just goes with JavaScript everywhere you go. There's this combo. What is surprising to me is that TypeScript is so far away from JavaScript. Like, it has 38%, and on this rank, it's on 5th place. I think it should be higher. I think it should be at least below HTML. So it's interesting where it comes from, that difference. And I think that if we would check, let's see, professional developers, TypeScript is still there on 5th place. And learning to code, this is even more surprising. It's even further down there. I mean, is it surprising actually? Like, if you think about it, when you're learning to code, you learn basics, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're learning the basics, and I think TypeScript is like a next step when you actually get some knowledge about JavaScript.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
basically, pretty much every tutorial that learns you to code starts with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and TypeScript is like, I think it's a bit more advanced. But happy to see like 20% is learning it.
It's growing. You can see that it's growing, and it makes sense because you can tell that even by that the React Native default template is now in TypeScript, not in JavaScript as it used to be all this time. So you can see that the community is leaning towards TypeScript and having some types in their code, which makes me very happy because I just love typed code. You know, I love it when it has a type. Python on the 3rd place. I think it's not a surprise. Well, basically, if you think about the growth of popularity of AI and machine learning, and if you know that Python is being used a lot in these areas, then it doesn't surprise you. It shouldn't, at least.
Exactly.
All right, let's skip ahead. Databases, not really interested in this topic, but cloud platforms, let's look at this for a sec. Amazon Web Services, AWS at the very top, far away from other technologies there. So Microsoft Azure on the 2nd, 26%. So AWS is almost double that, right? With 48%. It's just outgrowing the competition so much. Then Google Cloud, 23%, and Firebase below it. That actually surprised me a little bit, because I thought Firebase is more popular nowadays. And if we compare professional developers with learning to code, this is a big difference now. I mean, still AWS at the top, but the difference between the top three is not that big, which makes sense. If you're learning to code, you want to try them out, right? You want to know what's available, how they differentiate. So we got DigitalOcean 13%, then Heroku 12%, and Vercel going strong 10%, which is really nice. Vercel is, constantly shipping a lot of new features. Which, by the way, some of them in the previous Coffee Talk, episode 10.
They just passed Netlify, so I think it's a big growth.
Yeah, and I think they, in terms of like a number of people using them and like the popularity they're growing, I felt over the year that they are in a very similar place. And now this survey kind of proves that right, although Vercel is a bit ahead, which makes me happy, honestly.
Yeah, they're shipping so much stuff. I think they're going to be even higher next year. I think they're going to pass Heroku.
All right, so next on the list, web frameworks and technologies.
I'm not surprised React is number one in front-end technologies, and Node.js is on top of the list. Number 3 is jQuery, and it's going strong for years. And it's really funny because people think that it should not be used anymore. Let's move to some fancy frameworks and stuff. And basically, it's really connected to building websites with WordPress. And when you just download some template from the internet, it's probably using jQuery, and I think that's the reason why it's on the third place.
Many WordPress users, you can see WordPress is on 13%. For such an old technology, it's impressive, to be honest. Because who didn't create a website using WordPress at least once in their lives? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And Next.js is on 16%, so I think it's gonna grow even more now, as the official docs suggest to use it right now. I think it's gonna grow.
And this is a framework created by Vercel, by the way. So it's also growing strong, which is nice. And when we look at the professionals versus learning to code, professional developers, React is at the top, but Node.js is right below it. I mean, to be honest, with this survey, I have one problem. Like, it is very general topic, web frameworks and technologies, but we kind of comparing the React with Node.js, and one is front end, the other is back end. It just doesn't really make sense to put them next to each other in a comparison. But that's just me complaining. So let's not focus on that. If we move to the learning to code, now there is a bigger difference here. Now Node.js is definitely ahead of React, which is interesting. Does it mean that more people are learning backend than frontend? Like, is that a case?
Or maybe they're going full stack.
Hopefully. I mean, full stack sounds like future, right?
Yeah. Like, I think in this survey, the biggest amount of responses were from full stack developers. So that may be the case.
Oh, but look at that. Learning to code. Angular is having only 7%. Which means that not too many people are willing to get to know Angular. I mean, does that mean that Angular is slowly fading away? Where was Angular on this? It was 17%. So most of Angular voters are basically people who already know and use Angular. But not too many people are willing to learn it. Sad stuff. I mean, Angular was the first framework for me on front end to use as a full stack developer, so it's kind of sentimental. But I'm not willing to get back to it. Other frameworks and libraries. Let's see. All respondents. .NET 5 Plus, which is everything starting with 5 in the version. 25%. I used to be a .NET user, and I can tell that C# was really nice language when I was using it, and it wasn't that long ago. So I think it's still being nice. And at my university, they were teaching us using C# as well, and I think that might be the case for many universities. So the popularity might be related to that. You know, many people just start their careers using .NET, and some people just stick to it for the rest of the career. With that, on the second place, we got NumPy. Third place is Pandas. And I think, if I'm not wrong, these are some libraries related to like, machine learning, AI stuff that are widely used in this area, right? From NumPy is obviously for Python, and Pandas, is it Python as well?
I have no idea, to be honest.
No idea, but we love Pandas. I mean, they're just cute. Yeah. Here we got Flutter with 9%. Unfortunately, it's above the React Native, which is on 43, sorry, percent.
Yeah, I'm not following the community of Flutter, but I think it's growing, and it's getting a lot of attention right now. I'm wondering, how does it look in terms of learning to code? If people are going to Flutter as well, or
let's see. Learning to code, Flutter even more, 10%, compared to React Native, 6.66.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. And yeah, also, I'm wondering, why is that? Because, I mean, you either love or hate one or the other technology, right? Because this is this kind of technology. If you love React Native, you're not gonna love Flutter. If you love Flutter, you're not gonna love React Native, unless you're very mature and responsible developer who can make choices based on the actual use cases. But this is not us. We are not one of them. No, just kidding. If you are a person who tried both React Native and Flutter, and you are watching or listening to that, just drop a comment. Let us know. Maybe you have some thoughts on that. Because for me, it feels like Flutter has just a way more marketing power. You can hear about Flutter here and there, people talking about it, and React Native is just very widely used, and it's very popular in like an open source community, but I feel like it doesn't have much marketing out there. It's not that there's not much propaganda around React Native. One more interesting thing that we can look at is Swift UI. Okay, so are we on all the respondents? Yes. So Swift UI is a fresh, kind of fresh, framework that you can build your iOS apps with Swift UI, and it has only 3.93%.
Yeah, but I think last year it was not even there, and I'm wondering what happened for the last year, because I was not following Swift UI, but for the last couple of months I saw a lot of people getting attention around it, and tweeting about it, and trying to discover what's possible to do with this, and how Swift UI is handling stuff better than React Native in some cases. So I think that's interesting, and I'm definitely gonna take a look on that one.
All right. Yeah, it was not there last year, that is true, and I also don't know why. Maybe it's still kind of fresh framework. Maybe it was just not there yet for production applications. Maybe it was not production ready. Maybe people are just breaking through and trying it out for real. So maybe that's the reason why. But I have no idea. Any iOS developers, let us know. Are you using Swift UI? Is it good? Is it worth learning? Just let us know, because I'm very curious. We should try it out. Integrated development environment. And this, if you're a developer, that means a lot to you. And to me, it makes me really happy to see Visual Studio Code so much ahead of competition. 73% on the first place. Then there's Visual Studio on 28%. This is almost 50% gap here, which is huge. I mean, you know, you can love or hate one or the other IDE or code editor or however you're gonna call it. But if you are a developer working with other developers, I don't know, pair programming or just helping them fix their issues with their code and stuff, it's so great to see that, you know, that the other person is using the same editor, because how often, I mean, it happened to me very often back in the days when I was using Visual Studio, that some errors were just coming because my IDEs was just freaking out for some reason. And it's just so annoying. And when somebody else who wants to help you is not using this specific IDE, very often you're alone with this, right? So I'm very happy to see that. And Visual Studio Code, I know that in ColdStack we have many users of that. I haven't seen anyone with anything else. I don't know. Have you ever seen anyone with anything else in ColdStack?
No.
I mean, maybe Android Studio or Xcode from time to time.
Yeah, from time to time, right. Yeah, but the result is not surprising at all. I mean, even if you are using it to build React Native apps, it's great. You have a lot of extensions. I think in the Expo SDK 49 that is coming soon, there's gonna be a debugger that allows you to debug your JavaScript code directly from the Visual Studio Code. So I think that's amazing.
So cool. That is actually so cool. Remember, we mentioned at the beginning that probably this survey was mostly filled up by enthusiasts and, you know, people who are who just love to code, not really only professionals and stuff like that. And I think, it's just my guess, but I think that you can see that by looking at how Vim is high up on this rank, because, I mean, okay, all of us had to exit Vim at one point, right? And funny enough, Stack Overflow helped us in that, probably all of us. But you have to be like the true hardcore developer or enthusiast and you know, Linux for the win person to use Vim daily and like be good with it, right? Because you need to know all these not extensions, sorry, shortcuts, all this kind of tricks. You need to configure it so that it looks good, because straight out of the box it's just very difficult to read. So yeah, I think that kind of proves the point. But if I'm wrong, then, you know, just say in comments. I don't mind, because I'm scared of Vim. Yeah, to be honest. Sublime Text, 12%. Sentimental. I used to learn how to write my HTML and CSS with Sublime. It was really nice. All right, let's move on. So, synchronous tools. Something that developers have to deal with daily. And again, something that you either love or hate. Microsoft Teams, 51%. Number one. Tomek, how do you feel with that?
To be honest, I'm not a big fan of Microsoft Teams. I prefer Slack. But I think it's widely used across companies. So it's like a number one tool for synchronous discussions with people. So yeah, I think I hope Slack will gonna pass them next year, because it's much better in my opinion.
Yeah, but what don't you like about Microsoft Teams? Maybe let's look at that point for a second, because I'm not a fan of Microsoft Teams. Let's clear on that. But I'm just curious on why do you not love it?
Well, I always had problems with finding the right conversation, like group conversations. It was really difficult for me to find it, and I don't know how about now, but when I used it, there was no possibility to use one account for multiple let's say, servers.
That's it.
And Slack is doing this great. So I had to log out and again log in with another account for another server. So that was pretty annoying.
Right. So basically, the UX is there.
Yeah,
Really.
and I hope they fixed it now. I haven't used it in like 2 years maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have to use it from time to time on my project work, but yeah, I would rather not, to be honest. But I understand why it's so high up. I mean, this is, if you're a company that is growing strong, that is going enterprise and stuff like that, the big chance is you're gonna use the whole Microsoft for enterprise package, right? Which comes with the Office 365, the .NET frameworks and all this stuff, and Microsoft Teams, because you just want to stay in this ecosystem that Microsoft provides. But yeah, as a developer, I don't love it. I would rather go with Slack, which is on the second place. Then we have Zoom on the third place, and it's also surprising. But I think since Zoom got their popularity because of the COVID and the whole learn from home pattern and people working remotely, I think it's still holding strong because people just like to use it for I don't know, maybe webinars, maybe like quick meetings with clients and stuff like that, because I think you can just generate link and just send it over. This works.
Yeah. I noticed there is a lot of meetings when you have a meeting with different companies, you mostly use Zoom.
Yeah.
At least it's my observation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that makes sense. Then we got Discord, and again, Discord. Well, number one, I think gamers, right? Because when you're playing games, you want to join these communities, and Discord is a great place for that. Also, Discord, I think it gained more popularity with the whole Web3 buzz around it. Like, if you were ever interested in Web3 and you were, I don't know, maybe buying or selling some coins or NFTs or stuff like that, the chances you got Discord on your on your machine and you were using it heavily. Then Google Meet, and there it is, the WhatsApp. This is surprising in two ways. Well, one of them is, I mean, maybe not that. It's not surprising that it's here because it's a great communication, great way to communicate with your friends, with your groups and people like that. But it's not specifically great for work. And when we look at professional developers, WhatsApp is still very high up. It's 28%. So I'm just wondering whether responders were thinking about WhatsApp as just a communication tool or actually they use it for work in some way. And I'm not thinking about freelancers contacting their customers over WhatsApp, because I know that this happens. I'm just wondering if someone is using WhatsApp instead of Slack, for example. And
I think it's, at least for me, it's really interesting because as far as I know, WhatsApp doesn't have the, for example, code formatting, like all the stuff that you have in Slack or Teams when you want to, I don't know, send a code snippet to someone. So
yeah, exactly.
That's really odd.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to something more interesting, which is AI search tools. This is the hot topic nowadays. Everybody wants to use it. Everybody's using it. And the Chat GPT, oh boy, 83%. This is like, there's no competition for Chat GPT at the moment. I mean, Bing AI with 20%, but I mean, come on, that's just sad.
Yeah, I heard about some tools like Bing AI or BART, but I haven't used them. Like, I go full Chat GPT. I'm a fan. It helps me a lot at work. I use it for building regexes, which are really complicated, and I would spend like an hour for building it on my own, and it just creates it in a few seconds. It's also useful, for example, for type definitions. When it's missing, I don't have to type it on my own. I just copy paste and I have the the good result. It's
Right.
not accurate, like 100%, but so you have to verify it. But in general, it's really cool and really helpful.
All right. That's actually very interesting. I am one of these people who don't really use ChatGPT, but it's not that I hate it. I don't have this kind of, natural feel that I should use ChatGPT for something. But regex is something that I can definitely imagine using it for. And if let's play a game for people watching that on YouTube specifically, because you can easily comment that. What's the regex for email address? I mean, come on. Just type it out of your head. Don't use ChatGPT for that. That should be like your natural movement to type it out. AI developer tools. Number 1, GitHub Copilot. Maybe a short overview what it is. Tomek, can you explain to us what Copilot is?
Yeah, sure. Like basically, it's a tool in Visual Studio Code that helps you write your code. It suggests you some improvements or how to finish the line or create specific code. It's really cool.
All right, yeah, and I love Copilot, to be honest. I use it daily. Yeah. I don't remember requirements for getting an access to it because I think it's not fully free. I think you need to commit to some open source project, and just like that, you get the access to Copilot. I mean, GitHub is...
Yeah, or you can buy it.
Yeah, for sure. Tab 9 on the second place, and I don't know about the Tab 9 right now, but I used to use it. I tried it out like a year or two ago, and I remember it was really, really good by then. I don't know nowadays. I mean, obviously, GitHub has so much more popularity across developers that when they release their own tool, it's gonna just blow up no matter what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
But I hope Tab 9 is doing fine. I mean, comparing to like AWS Code Whisperer, it's almost double that. So I think it's fine. It's doing fine. It's just that Copilot is having this fame of GitHub, and it's just insanely popular amongst developers.
Yeah. What's interesting about Copilot, you can actually sign for a preview of Copilot X, which is basically the extension for Copilot combined with ChatGPT. So you can highlight the code and ask ChatGPT inside your Visual Studio Code about it. So it's pretty cool. If you get an access to this, you have to, for now, probably use Visual Studio Code Insiders or something. But yeah, it's worth taking a look.
All right. That's interesting. I need to try it out. I honestly didn't know there is a thing like this coming up. Here is the admired and desired section of the survey. And basically, like in short, there is the whole description telling us what it is. But in short, it means that whatever is admired is something that people already use or are using, and they are saying that they would use or reuse it again, that they like specific thing, specific tool, platform, whatever. And desired is something that people maybe didn't get a chance to use yet, but they would love to try it out, right? So probably something that has the most hype and the most buzz around, and you desire to try it out, but you never had a chance. And let's look at cloud platforms in the desired versus admired kind of manner. So Amazon Web Services, as we remember, it was the most popular cloud provider amongst developers from the previous part of the survey. And here it's not a surprise, but admired is 62%, desired is 44%. Microsoft Azure, admired almost 60%, but desired only 23%, which is a big difference from AWS. But you know what? Let's look at the Vercel. I'm just curious about it. So Vercel, 69% admired, which is a lot. It's strong, but only 12% desired. And it's
maybe because it's at this moment, it's known mostly across the React community. I'm not sure. Maybe it would be the more desired platform if there was more marketing around doing other stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. And it clearly shows that this is a platform that people who already use it, they appreciate it, right? Because 69% is a lot comparing to other platforms here. So you can guess that Vercel is doing a great job with their cloud services. It's not that popular, and it's just that's why the desire is so low. It's just it needs some word spreading, right? Let's look at the web frameworks and technology. React here it has a little less difference between desired and admired, and I think it makes sense again. I think this is as the most popular web frameworks nowadays. It makes sense that people who didn't try it yet want to try it, right? So it's desired, and yeah, as a person who worked with React, I would admire it. I would use it again, totally.
Thank you.
Svelte, there is a huge difference between admired and desired. Wondering why is that? I mean, again, people who use it probably love it, so they 74% is a lot.
It's getting a lot of hype on the internet, and many people are trying it, and it's pretty interesting that it's highly admired. I would give it a try too, to be honest.
Okay, let's look at the other frameworks then. Where is React Native here? I just want to see React Native, to be honest. I'm just curious about it.
You missed it already.
Yeah. 54% admired, 11% desired. Guys, React Native developers, come on, let's spread the word. It's good. We like React Native. We want to use it. We desire it. We admire it. Nah, I'm just being a fanboy here, but to be honest, what do you think?
To be honest, I admire React Native a lot, but I haven't tried Flutter, for example, which has, I think, even more admired percentage. So, yeah. But in terms of React Native, I would totally use it again for any other project. But I'm wondering what are the key differences between Flutter and React Native, where Flutter is maybe better than React Native, so I could get a better understanding about this.
Yeah. One thing that I've just thought of is that here on this whole survey, when it comes to React Native, we don't have Expo as a separate thing here, and I'm just wondering whether some people who are voting, maybe they use only Expo or only pure React Native, and they have only like one side of the game on the opinion. And also, I'm just curious because I know that React Native maybe a few years ago was not that great, and I can admit it. It was probably painful to work with back then. But nowadays, it's really, really comfortable and nice to use. It has great developer experience, in my opinion. And I'm just curious if people voting are people who are like daily using React Native, or they just used it for last project or something like that. Or maybe there are people who worked with React Native back in the days and they just remember the bad experience and they didn't like it. So for me, for example, it is like this with Xamarin, which was somewhere here as well. And if you don't know, Xamarin is like a .NET framework for cross-platform applications. So like React Native, but you use .NET for that. I mean, it doesn't work like React Native, don't get me wrong. It's just similar tool. There it is. Admired 23%, desired 2%. Yeah, you don't hear much about Xamarin though. But this is my case. I used to work with Xamarin like maybe 5 years ago, and back then it was not that great, and I would not admire it nowadays, having that memories, right? But who knows? Maybe nowadays it's much better. So guys, if you didn't vote for React Native because you remember it from the old days, give it a try. Nowadays it's much better. Let's just move on. Asynchronous tools. Oh, wow. Markdown file. 81% admired, 22% desired. I mean, Markdown file. I mean, I like Markdown, but 81%.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. But maybe that's because of the, when you build a docs or something, you probably use Markdown for this. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the case.
And also, if we look at the description here, it makes sense. It says Markdown files can be deployed in various hosted instances and show an opportunity for paid solutions to reduce friction for sharing information, which makes sense. And also, Markdown is available in many tools, right? So you can use Markdown even on your like Jira tickets. You can use Markdown in Slack.
Yeah.
If I remember right. So people are just familiar with that. And Notion admired 64%, desired 14%. I mentioned Notion because I am a big fan of Notion, and I totally admire it. And I would recommend for people who didn't try it. It gives so much freedom in terms of what you can do with it, but it can be overwhelming for someone. So, yeah, just give it a try. It's nice. AI search tools. ChatGPT. What? I thought it's missing here because I couldn't see it at first. 77% admired, 75% desired.
Yeah, I'm totally in both groups.
Yeah. Well, I need to try it out more. I just need to think of it when I'm solving some issues, Google Bard AI Google Bard AI admired 60%, desired 22%. Bing AI, very similar, admired 62%, desired 21%. And other tools, search tools like Wolfram Alpha, very admired, so it's on 68%, but not so desired. And again, I think that's like a marketing thing. You just don't hear about it much.
Isn't it the tool to solve some mathematical problems? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be. I remember there was something like that, and it might be that thing. But yeah, I'm guilty of not knowing that, Fint? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Wow, they are.
But it's almost as admired as ChatGPT. Or like honestly, 77.73 versus 77.46. So it's very close. Yet not so desired. Again, I haven't heard of that. I think we've reached the end. There is a little bit more in this survey, worked with versus want to work with, and it has beautiful graphs. But to be honest, it's not something to talk about. You need just to look at it by yourself, and it's so much fun. I mean, look at that. This is it. We're gonna call it now. So thank you very much, Tomek. It was a really big pleasure to have you on this podcast.
Thank you very much. It was great.
So thank you, our listeners. Again, please leave comments for questions that I had, because we are always really curious about your opinions, about your input on this, on all the stuff we are talking about. So, don't be shy. Share your impressions about this year's survey. It's interesting to see how y'all, probably professional developers as well, how you see that. What surprised you? Maybe there was something that totally blew your mind. Like what's up for us, I guess. So yeah, stay tuned for more episodes, and don't forget about upcoming React Native EU 2023. Which is coming, and it's in Wrocław on site. Get your tickets. Don't forget about it, because it's one and only, and we're gonna have a great speakers this year. Just check it out on the website. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, and see you around. Bye bye.